That sucked. Florida Gators lost to the Miami Hurricanes 26-7 in what was one of the weirdest games that we've seen in a long time. Time to make quite a few changes, Florida. Just saying.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free if it's the podcast and on YouTube. Happy, or not so happy, Saturday. I am Brandon Olsen. Find me on Twitter, WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work about the Florida Gators with swampsignal.substack.com. We will be having an all-22 breakdown of this game at some point this week. Usually that's the Wednesday one. But, man, I see a bunch of people already in the chat. I see 102 people in here a minute in. I don't think we've ever had that happen here. Yeah, I don't. It's tough. It's tough to talk about this game where I think the biggest thing to say is just there's no offense here. Like this is honestly going to be up there with Muschamp level offenses. Larry Cox, you may be glad that you don't have my job. I'll tell you this. I don't care in moments like where Florida loses by 20, which exactly like on the show this week, I said my fear is that the offense is so inept that the defense gives up some scores late and it looks really worse than it is. But look, I mean, I said all summer, I said that I thought this is a college football playoff roster, which I'm going to say this too, because I see Sam Reeves. Sam Reeves said, Brandon Sunshine pumped us all summer. What I said all summer was the Florida Gators have a college football playoff roster, but the coaching needs to catch up to the talent. That's what I said all summer. That's what I said all spring, that this is a really good roster. And if you can watch that game and you can tell me that that's not a really good roster, you're insane. That defense just played ridiculous football the entire time when the offense didn't do anything. You were right about McLean, but Ruben Bain different. I said Ruben Bain's been playing fantastic football, dominant football this season. So, no, right about that too. Yeah, I think that this offense is just completely inept, right? I don't know who lit a fire under their ass that gave us one good drive in the second half. But whatever it was that happened needs to continue happening, right? Like whatever they did on that one drive. And here's the thing, I hate being the guy because, you know, like I sit here on a podcast in a chair on the internet, not putting my body on the line, not putting everything all on the line for football, but watching these guys play, there were multiple times where like you're just playing soft. That's it. Like there's just no other way to put it. You watch that first half, the offensive line, no push. Again, I don't care that, oh, well, the defense is expecting things because you know what? I'm watching guys not get blocked at all. I'm watching guys not get pressed there. Like I'm watching this and I'm saying, you know what? They're not getting pushed. I'm watching the first half, the first drive defensively, 8 yards downfield every time they handed the ball off. I'm watching the defense for a lot of the game. There were times where it's just like push back, and they played their bend don't break. They did their job. Like they played great in coverage because this wasn't a game where Florida generated a ton of pressure, right? They played great in coverage there. It's just, man, there were too many times where guys were playing soft. I mean, defensive backs making business decisions there. Like you're a DB. If you don't want to hit someone, go figure out how to play receiver. Go figure out how to run routes. Like that's the kind of stuff that I think is just insane. You're a DB. Go play DB. Defensive back. Defensive. Hit someone. Like the amount of times that, because here's the thing, the way that Miami's offense was working in the ground game was they run it into the offensive line, and the offensive line just like the offensive line gets really tight and condensed, and they just move down. That's it. They just move downfield. Which you gotta take them out. You gotta just take them out. You gotta, when they've got the running back and they're all pushing them, you gotta just take them out. Because if you're getting into this fight where you're trying to push them back, like, those dudes are huge. Miami's offensive linemen are strong as hell. I think that a lot of people in this game came away with the takeaway that Miami's offense doesn't look as good as a lot of people thought they were. I think a lot of people came away with that takeaway. And maybe I think that Miami's offensive line, like they're strong as hell. And one of the big things that they get to do consistently is they get to just run the ball because they ball up like that and they just move downhill. That's it. Like Florida's defense played like it was so good. And like I know that there's a lot of people who, when I spoke about this game, I said a couple things about Carson Beck, where I said, I think that for Florida, last time you played Carson Beck, he threw 3 picks. And it's possible that in his head, he's going to have that. And I said that I think that Florida does a really good job disguising coverages, disguising pressures, and can give him fits. And I will say this is the one thing off Victory Lap. I had a bunch of Miami fans telling me that was ridiculous and that he's going to go off on them. He didn't. He didn't go off on them. He had a bad game. He did. So I will say that that's one thing I'll lap around of that. It's exactly what I called, right? So I will say that I think that, the offense, that one drive looked pretty decent, right? It didn't look sustainable at all. We ran a freaking QB sweep with DJ Lagway on 4th and short. That's not a situation you want to be in, right? But also, this is a team, they just have zero confidence in DJ Lagway right now. And after that touchdown drive, that was the first time he showed fire. That was it, because we haven't seen that, right? We haven't seen the fire from DJ Lagway. We haven't seen it this year. It's just not been there. I don't know what it is. I can't explain it. I'm not going to speculate on what's going through his mind. I'm not going to speculate on how he's acting. I'm not going to speculate on any of that. What I am going to say is that after that touchdown drive, that was the first time we saw DJ Lagway really have fire on the sideline. And that was it. And he, look, 12 for 23, 61 yards, freaking sucks, right? No one's going to dispute that. The reason that your offense is so hamstrung, the offensive line and DJ Lagway, both of them hamstrung it. I'm not talking about coaching or anything. I'm talking about playing wise. That's what it was. The 4th down pass to J. Michael Sturdivant, great throw. Better catch, great throw. The 4th down pass to TJ Abrams that was short on 4th down, not on Lagway. I don't even really think that's on Napier. I'll be honest. I think that's on TJ Abrams. I think that the play call was hitches, and it's like, all right, well, guess what? You got to get to the 1st down marker, and then you can hitch. And he didn't do that. And when you get tackled short after that, that's when things go poorly for you. Like this was a bad football game offensively. I'm not going to lie. Obviously, everybody knows that. It's one of those, and again, 26-7 looks way worse than it really was, right? Like this game was what, 7-13 up until there were 4 minutes left in the game. And sure, that touchdown, probably the dagger. I will also touch on this, the 2-point conversion call for Mario Cristobal. I know I've seen a lot of people on the Twitter timeline call it a stupid call. It wasn't. The touchdown put you up 12. You go for 2 in that situation, and then you're up 14. Because if you're up 12, or the difference between going up 12 or 13 doesn't matter, right? If you kick the PAT, you're up 13, 2 touchdowns and 2 PATs if Florida gets them. That gives them the win. If you go for 2 and you get it, that gives them the tie if they get 2 touchdowns, 2 PATs. If you go for the 2 and don't get it, you're in the same situation as if you had 13. It was the right call to go for 2 there. Absolutely. The last touchdown that Miami scored shouldn't have happened. That short drive shouldn't have happened because it was like a 20-yard drive. This game is closer than the score indicates. No one cares about that. Like, I'm not saying that to be like, oh yeah, moral victory. No, I'm just saying that to put into context of everything. That's what I'm trying to do, right? Like, that's all I'm trying to say is that you have a defense good enough to keep you in games with anyone for a very long time. And like the defense did a hell of a job. They really did. Because once again, the offense put the defense in crappy spot after crappy spot. And I know that at halftime, the commentators or the sideline reporter was like, oh, well, Billy Napier said that the reason that the offense has been so bad is because they've been pinned back every single time. That's not entirely true. You weren't pinned back to open the game when you lost yards. You weren't pinned back to open the game when you had negative yards on that drive. Because you weren't, right? You weren't pinned back on the next drive that you had after Miami scored a touchdown. You had a touchback there. You weren't pinned back. You still did nothing. You weren't pinned back the next drive when, oh, look, another touchback. You weren't pinned back on those. You had 3 drives that started with touchbacks, and you didn't do a damn thing on them. So I don't want to hear, oh, yeah, our offense can't get going because we've been pinned back. Your offense can't get going because your offense can't get going, and that's on you as a coach. I hate that loser mentality of like, oh, well, it's because we kept getting pinned back. No, that's not what happened at all. It was horrible. It was, I think, an awful coaching display, an awful coaching experience, an awful coaching performance. I think that it was, I think that this is one of those games where I said this last year at some point. I think that there are certain games where you look at it and you go, hey, that was embarrassing. And it was embarrassing. Don't say Billy Napier outcoached Mario Cristobal. What happened was Ron Roberts outcoached Shannon Dawson. That's what happened. That's what it was. Because Billy Napier didn't outcoach a damn thing at all. And again, similar to me talking about how when I criticize players, it's like, I know it's easy for me to say that. I'm sitting in a chair doing a podcast. No one's coming to hit me. Like, I get that. I get that it's easier for me to say these things than to go do them. But the fact that pretty much everybody can unanimously agree that, hey, things aren't working on offense and you're not adapting from them. And the one drive where you did adapt from them, holy crap, you scored a touchdown. The only time you scored, the time where if you didn't have that change in play calling, or whether that's you gave up whether you gave the sticks over for a second or whatever it was, if you didn't have that drive, you would have been shut out for the first time in my life. That's what we're talking about. Like that. That's why it was just awful. I see the chat talking about, who's the next coach and when do we fire Billy. We'll talk about that a little bit when we get back from this break. We'll talk about it when we get back with Locked On Gators. You can just move through life, or you can find the things that move you. It's your choice. You can choose to get out there, choose your people. You can choose to go for it and really go for it. Like a 4th and 2 DJ Lagway QB sweep, go for it. Just do something that moves you, right? Mazda crafts cars for those who choose to do more than simply move. So it's Mazda, move and be moved. And it's almost the weekend, right? Or it is the weekend, right? Time flies when your team sucks sometimes. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash streaks, saving more every time you order. These players delivered when it mattered most. And I did this last week. I'm doing it again this week because he had a pick. He had the pick. He made the plays. I'm going to give it to 2 players, okay? I'm going to give it to Jaden Woods for getting his first career sack. And I'm going to give it to Cormani McClain for getting the pick on Carson Beck right after Florida scored a touchdown. Like that was the biggest Defense doing their job. That was the biggest. Defense. Here you go, offense. Do something with it that you'll ever see. It was incredible. Only thing he could have done better was score the damn thing himself. That's it. With DoorDash streaks, you save every Saturday that you order, so you could stack it up all season, and you could save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through November 18th. And if you are staying up until 4:33 a.m., like me, caffeine just got a flavor upgrade for you. 5-hour energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. So each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients with zero sugar and, most importantly, zero crashes. What I love most is how portable they are. They're tiny. I put it in my pocket, take it with me on a walk, and I'll figure it out whenever I want to drink it. You can take it anywhere and get that boost that you need when you need it. So enough with the boring, flavorless caffeine, right? It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5-hour energy shots. Get the favorites you love, or be bold and try something new in store. I'm just saying, they got a great one. Pretty damn good at www.5hourenergy.com or on Amazon today. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast and on YouTube. And yeah, look, this one, this game is brutal. I'm just checking my phone in hopes of seeing a Pete Thamel notification. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm just going to be completely honest with you. I'm going to do that in hopes of seeing a Pete Thamel notification that will hopefully give me some joy in my life. But that's not the case right now. It's just not. But this game was rough, right? Right? It sucked, man. It sucked. And look, like I know first off, we'll talk about the coach thing. I don't know if Billy Napier gets fired this weekend. I know that logic says I know that logic, the offense does nothing with I know. I know that the logic says it's a bye week, fire the coach, right? I mentioned it the other day when I did the crossover with Alex Dono from Locked On Canes that I think now that the rule is once a coach is fired, players have 30 days to enter the transfer portal. I think schools are going to wait that out a little bit. I think schools might go, hey, player X, what do we have to do to keep you before we fire this? Like, we're going to move on from him, but let's talk about keeping you already. Like, I think teams are going to do that, or speak with a handler, or do things that, it's the shady side of business. I don't think anybody really likes it, but realistically, business is business. It's shady. It's crappy. There's always going to be stuff like that. Don't get mad at me for pointing it out. I'm just going to say that's what I think teams are going to do. So I don't know if Florida fires him this week. I really don't. Again, should they? Yeah, I mean, they should have fired him, week 4 last year when we said it, but they didn't do that either. So we'll see. As far as who's replacing him, I've said this before. I'm not really talking about that until they actually fire him. Because while I want him fired, and I think most of the people watching this want him fired, I think that a lot of people felt that way last year too. And that while I have expectations for this program, and I have expectations for this team, and I have expectations for this roster, and I have expectation with all these things, the fact of the matter, when you look at the administration at the University of Florida, the spineless losers that they are don't feel the same way. They don't have the same expectations. They don't have the same desire for winning. They don't have those same goals. And so those spineless losers, no, I don't have any faith in them actually doing it. Like, I think they'll do it this year, but this week, today, tomorrow, I'm just going to wait and see. That's my approach on, talking about who's going to replace him, I'm not wasting my time until they actually make a decision, make a move. Simple as that. That's how I feel about it, at least. As for because I know that there's going to constantly be people that go, oh, you like sunshine pumped this offseason. Here's the thing. I think most people know, and if you're a frequent listener, I think I don't care about sunshine pumping. I don't care about being right or wrong. I'm going to be right 1,000 times. I'm going to be wrong 1,000 times. Hell, probably more for both sides of that, honestly. I do at least 5 shows a week, so it makes sense. But I don't care about being right or wrong, sunshine pumping or gloom and dooming. I don't care about that. I think that okay. I'll get to you in a second, Juan Manuel. Juan Manuel. I don't care about that. As long as I'm being honest, that's all I care about. So you could say I was wrong. I was in sunshine pumping. And I will also say this: everything I've said was coaching needs to catch up to the talent on this roster, and a thing that you can go back and see that I caught a lot of flack for was saying that DJ Lagway needed a lot of development. I said those things here. So, and the things I say are recorded and filmed and live. And so you could say whatever you want. You could say what I was wrong about. That's absolutely fine. But yeah, I do think that right now, I think I was wrong on some things with this team, but I also thought the defense would be pretty damn good, and they're pretty damn good. Yeah. So I will say that. Like coaching didn't catch up to the talent. And in fact, I even said it this past week. I think the gap between coaching and talent might have been even widened. I think that, yeah, these players, some of them are better. Coaching hasn't caught up at all. So I will say that about that. Like I was wrong about some things. I'll absolutely take that. No problem. My whole thing was coaching needs to catch up to the talent. DJ Lagway needs to develop an underneath game. Neither of those things happened. So, and again, you can go back to the prediction episodes. Those episodes always were, if these things happen, and I think they will happen, which they didn't happen, but if they did happen, then that's what would happen. So, yeah. And Juan Manuel, you're not going to credit how hard the defense played tonight. Did you just get here, buddy? We've been live for 22 minutes, and that was a large portion of the beginning that the defense gave you chances here. The defense put you in this. We just did an ad break about it 10 minutes ago that the defense kept you in this. The defense made plays for you. The defense did their part. Like the defense did everything they possibly could, and I will continue to give them credit with that. Like I will continue. Yeah, Juan Manuel, we went through this. The defense balled the hell out. They made plays. And at one point, like let's also just acknowledge the let's also just acknowledge the depth of this roster, right? Because there were certain points in that game where you were down to your third and fourth strings at some positions. Like there were some points in that game where you were just getting, like, everybody's getting hurt all the time. You went into this game without Caleb Banks. You went into this game without George Gums. You went into this game without who else was out? LJ McCray's been out. Like you went into this game with just Makai Boyro was out. You went into this game with injuries in abundance, right? And at certain points, you had like Javari Flowers, true freshman. At one point in the game, I sent it to the Insider program. At one point in the game, the outside corners on the field, Javari Flowers and Cormani McLean, and your nickel was Lagonza Hayward. Like that was at one point in your corner room. The edge room, you had Jaden Wood starting and Kofi Asare playing a ton. Like you had injuries pile up. You had everything that possibly could go wrong against you pile up, and your defense still balled out. Like, again, you might not have been here for me saying it, but damn. Yeah, this is Joe Dirt. Tell your mom I said hi. It's just, I don't get it, man. Just get more original jokes. Like, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, this is a defense that can genuinely keep you in any game with anybody. Your offense, though, needs to do anything. Kane thinks it isn't that guy suspended. I don't know which guy you were talking about. Jabbar Jaluk, the running backs coach and associate head coach, is suspended, probably should be fired. As a coach, you can't put hands on a player. It's a simple. That's my take on it, at least. As a coach, you can't put hands on a player. I never remember when you had this 1-11 team. They're not going to be 1-11. That's fine. Again, like you just went to Miami, and up until 4 minutes left in the game, this was a very winnable game. I don't think that they're going to win a ton of games, but I am going to say that this defense is good enough to actually win you some games at some point this season, provided they all don't redshirt. So I will say that. What is he supposed to do without a starting D-line? I don't know. I care about the offense. I think the defense balled the hell out. Thought we were going to win after the interception. Yeah, I think a lot of people did, honestly. This was brutal, right? What's up, Kane thing? It's yeah. I feel bad for the defenders. Like that's the way that I can look at it. I feel bad for the defenders that went out there and played their asses off. That first drive was brutal. They got like kind of pushed up and down the field, but like when we talk about bend don't break, that's what this defense did. They bent, they did not break for a second though, and they could have at so many points, because when you're a defender and you go out there and you play your ass off and you make good play after good play after good play, and you go out there and every time you come off the field, the offense goes out there and just pisses down their legs. Like, it's tough to stay motivated. Just by the drives. Florida's first offense, 3 plays, -5 yards. Florida's first drive, 3 plays, -5 yards. Florida's second drive, 3 plays, 5 yards. Florida's fourth, 7 plays, 18 yards. Next, 3 plays, 2 yards. Next, 3 plays, 0 yards. Next, 3 plays, 2 yards. Like that was your first half. That was your entire first half. Miami dominated time of possession early on, and the defense could have easily given up. Miami ran so many plays in the first half. On their first 2 drives alone, they combined for 23. Like, Miami had a 7-play drive, then a 16-play drive, then a 6-play drive, then a 3-play drive, then a 10-play drive, and then a 1-play drive. Like Miami had the ball the entire time. Defense could have folded so many times, and you somehow went into that halftime down 13-0. It's just ridiculous what this defense had to deal with. I don't blame anybody on the defense for being mad, being frustrated. I give every single one of them credit for keeping you in that game, because that's really what it was, right? Like the defense didn't need to be as good as they were. And by that, I mean, like to give you a chance, they didn't need to be as good as they were, but they could have easily folded at any point, and they did. And I will always give them credit for that. That was a hell of a performance defensively. Your offense let them down. Every single player on that offense deserves every single player on that defense an apology. Because you can't go out there and say, hey, by the way, we're going to score 10 points against number 3 LSU, and then we're going to score 7 against number 4 Miami, and that's all we're going to do. Oh, and we're going to constantly put you in crappy spots. Offensive line, DJ Lagway, apologize. Like, there's no other way around it. I get it. And this isn't to say Billy Napier's not at fault. Like, Billy Napier's absolutely at fault. Billy Napier should be fired. His time, I look at him as just not fired yet. That's it. I look at him as not salvageable at this point, because he's not. There's nothing he can do that I would think that there's nothing he could do in the realm of possibility that would make me go, oh yeah, give him another year. It's done. It's done. Juan Manuel, I think that the defensive coordinator is a fantastic strategist and a fantastic play caller, but I do think that there's more to it than just that. So I don't know. And I will say, if he's made the interim, he's not going to be retained. Simple as that. Like, if he's made the interim, he's not going to be retained. Once you become the interim, you become like a position of authority and a position of power that teams and players actually look up to. And in which case, once you hire a new head coach, there's probably going to be some weird allegiance things there where guys are going to go, oh, they should have just made you the permanent guy. And it's a weird thing there. So you're probably going to want to avoid that. They got rid of Dan Mullen for much less. Here's the thing. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. I think that you can say in hindsight, hiring Billy Napier was a bad decision. I think that even if you're someone who thought that from the day they hired him, sure, good job. That like the hiring of Billy Napier not working out does not change the fact that Dan Mullen completely rolled over and gave up on this team. That's it. Like, that's why I don't care that Dan Mullen's gone. Because Dan Mullen gave up on this team. That's all that matters to me. Like Billy didn't work out, sure. Dan Mullen gave up. Like that, I don't get this whole like, oh well, you should have kept Dan. Dan was winning games, but Dan gave up. I know coaches on the staff. It's not that he had one bad season in Florida turned on. It's that he stopped recruiting. He stopped trying to really build this program. I know coaches on the staff that after the Oklahoma Bowl game, and I will say this factually, this is what I was told by a coach on that staff, was after the Oklahoma Bowl game, he said, I put my house up for sale because I knew Dan was done. I knew after that Oklahoma Bowl game, Dan was done. He was mentally checked out. Firing Dan Mullen wasn't a bad decision. Like, let's get over that. Just because the Billy Napier hire didn't work out doesn't mean that keeping Dan Mullen was going to work out. Like, let's stop that. Should Florida go after Lane Kiffin? I think Florida should go after anybody they think that will get him a damn national championship at the University of Florida. That's the goal. That's the expectation. The amount of talent that's in the state of Florida, you should be able to win a national championship. Like, that's it. Coping hard. I don't know how I'm coping hard. I'm saying to fire him. I'm just saying that the whole, like, this weird revisionist history of, oh, yeah, Dan Mullen should have been fired is crazy. Ben Ponson, I'm sorry that was your first experience. Really, really am. Yeah, everybody's going to mention Kurt Signetti, Lane Kiffin. Who else is going to be thrown out there? Marcus Freeman's going to be thrown out there. Dan Lanning's going to be thrown out there. James Franklin's going to be thrown out there. John Summerall, I saw mentioned. There's going to be a billion names mentioned. Who they really go for? Probably genuinely, probably going to go for someone smaller again. That's what they do. Juan Manuel said, good night. Going to my team Locked On Canes. Yep. Tell Dono, congratulations. We were texting during the game. Yeah, we've been way longer than we usually go, but thank you all for tuning in. I'm not saying that Florida's going to get any of those guys. I'm just saying those are the names that are going to be thrown out there. But thank you all for tuning into this. I know that it sucks a lot when Florida loses. I know that like it's tough to care about things when Florida's losing games and when they look bad while doing it. Like, I get that. We'll be good again. Like there's no doubt in my mind about that. We'll be good again. It's just we're not right now. Simple as that. Still a hell of a good defense to keep you in most games. But hey, we'll be back. Florida will rise again. No doubt about that. But thank you for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free with us in the podcast and on YouTube. We will be back Monday at the absolute latest. Hopefully there's news tomorrow that we can go live for and talk about. I don't know if there will be, but hopefully. But until then, I'm Brandon Olsen. Find my written work with swampsignal.substack.com, and I will see you all next time.